special edition of Israel Update with Hanok Young. Before we get there, though, I do have a couple of quick announcements. First of all, last week the newsletter, I somehow did not sync up the link right. Those of you that get the newsletter, the video doesn't come in that email. It's just a link to the server. So and this the second video that we're doing, that's not on there anyway. So best way for people to do this, if you'd like to keep up with everything and keep up with it immediately, is to go to jointohashem.org, link at the end of the video, and just subscribe to our YouTube channel. That way you're getting it on the spot right there. As soon as it's loaded up, it's going to be there. So that's the main thing. And we are working right now on our Connect Israel tour. Just talking to Hanoka just a moment ago about dates. We're, Bezrat Hashem, God willing, we will have dates to you by the time we record on next Wednesday. So with that, Hanok, good afternoon.
Hey, Mike, good afternoon. I started making 2 or 3 notes because I keep forgetting things, and I wound up with this. So I apologize for looking over here.
I'll just sit back and have my coffee.
Let me just set the stage. A couple of people said they're losing track of what's going on. It's day 16.
Okay.
We have more than 1,400 dead. The vast majority of civilians. So far to date, we've only been able to identify 765 of them. Wounded 5,132. Hostages 212. Currently displaced from their homes in the north and south, over 500,000 Israelis. It's 500,000 people.
Okay, now let me stop you there. Where are they going?
They're being put up by other people throughout the country. People have volunteered. I mean, it's an amazing thing. Essentially, right now, sort of low intensity conflict at this point. Where's the third front? That's Syria. Last night, again, we tend not to go into details, but I think people are missing this. We've been dropping a lot of bombs in Gaza.
Yeah.
We dropped more in Syria on their airports in Damascus and Aleppo than we did all of last night in Gaza. Why? Because intelligence was indicating that Iranian and Iraqi troops and supplies were coming. Okay. Rockets fired us well in excess of 7,000. And it continues. The other thing, I have my notes in my right hand. I have my phone in the left hand. By the way, someone pointed out there are multiple apps to alert you to what's going on in Israel. The one that I have is called Tzofar, Tzofar. It has no ads. I know some of the ones, the red alert apps that people have, will give them, like ads all over the place.
Give me the spelling of that again.
Tzofar.
Okay.
Let me double check that right now. Pardon me. Tzofar. Yes. Okay.
Good. Thank you.
Now let's hop right into the good news, and then we'll fill in with all kinds of stuff. A week ago Thursday, I noticed that, to me, I was surprised that more Israelis weren't flying flags. So I went out and bought a new flag because mine gets shredded. The ones that we all put up on for Yom Ha'atzmaut, or Independence Day, get shredded from the wind. So I put it up on my terrace. Right at that time, the municipalities throughout the country, like in Modi'in, like in Jerusalem, began putting up all their flags. But when I put it up, see, I'm in a chain of 8 buildings, which face 8 other buildings, which have 6 larger buildings behind them. So I figured they're all going to see my flag. By Shabbat morning that week, I got up, there were 4 more flags. Today, there are 14.
Wow.
So I don't know if that makes me an influencer or what. It could be total coincidence. As you see, I had bought this hat in America. It's 511, where I get all my tactical gear. And the patches, come from Amazon.com. We don't have hats here. This is the Velcro stick on. In the US, people put on American flag or don't tread on me or, whatever. So
Yeah, it's kind of like
yeah,
the one right there over my shoulder that's back there.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I've got a Jerusalem one below it. So, okay.
Okay. There are 2 jewelers in Israel, 2 women, Orthodox women, who, when we have a fallen soldier, their picture and a brief bio goes up. Every time that happens, they have a heart engraved with the image and name of the fallen soldier, and they bring it to the deceased's family. I mean, volunteers throughout the country continues at a pace unbelievable. Now I have to share 2. I mean, sometimes it's kind of funny. And you have to find something to laugh about.
Mm.
There are guys that have been called up and they're in desperate need of a haircut. They literally can't. Okay, but all the barbers, all the hairstylists are also in the reserves.
Yeah.
So there are people who are volunteering. Then I just read about this woman who was volunteering to go anywhere that there were evacuees. People were forced to leave their homes from either the north or the south, and she would give them a free haircut.
Wow.
Now, in the north, just so you understand, 42 communities, including the city of Kiryat Shmona, have been evacuated. Kiryat Shmona is 22,000 people.
Yeah, I mean, that's hard to even imagine that driving through there is a huge city. Now, is this mandatory evacuation or is this
In
voluntary?
Kiryat Shmona, it is.
Wow. So
Yeah.
that's how serious this is up north.
Yeah. The what's fascinating though, and this is like a really beautiful thing. There have been a lot of weddings,
Yeah.
and it's really like the wedding is thrown together right away. The guys in the army, he's been called up. Very often the woman has been called up as well. And it's thrown together, tremendous joy and simcha. It's a beautiful thing. This is done with love and joy, and it's a beautiful thing to behold. 2 big things happening with volunteerism in Israel that I need to talk about because I think people would have missed it. All those leftists that were orchestrating all those demonstrations against Netanyahu for 40 plus weeks, they were a well-oiled machine in terms of organizing. They had flags printed with all kinds of, they're really, well, as of Shabbat, 16 days ago, they threw all of that effort and machinery into helping others.
Wow.
So Shabbat morning, they began having drivers drive down, some weren't even armed, to rescue people from communities in the south. They have established places where they were collecting all kinds of material and clothing for kids, for women, for men. Unbelievable. But they also pulled together 200 people from the high-tech field to use their skills in facial recognition and cross-referencing people's Facebook or Instagram accounts with pictures of them having been either abducted or missing. So wonderful thing. By now, our government has taken over that process, but like any government, we're a bureaucracy, so it was amazing. So that's the extreme left-wing community.
Yeah.
The Haredi, the ultra-Orthodox community, has been doing a magnificent job of volunteering throughout the country, particularly with an organization called Zaka, Z-A-K-A. These are the volunteers, all ultra-Orthodox, who go around and collect the remains of those deceased. But in addition, 3,000 in the last 2 weeks from the ultra-Orthodox community, 3,000 men have volunteered to join the IDF. Let me give you a perspective on that, because 3,000 doesn't sound very large. 1,200 Haredi men all year long last year joined the army.
Wow.
120 have just been inducted, and these are guys with experience as paramedics and search and rescue. So they're going right in. So this is really amazing, amazing stuff. Okay. I was asked not to mention names, but there are 2 teenagers who didn't feel that they were doing enough. And they went through their community. It's a small town. And began putting up posters that they had made, they had printed out, of the Israeli hostages, and engage people in conversation. Of course, they had their big sis along for logistical driving support and backup should it be needed. But again, I was asked not to mention their names, but I tip my hat. It's a beautiful thing, and people are so busy saying, I wish I could do more. You know, all of my last 3 presentations in America were all focused strictly on Israel.
Interesting enough, yeah.
Yeah. And they were all about, borders and Judea and Samaria and Gaza and all this stuff. I mean, it was almost like, it's almost like, the classic ripped from the headlines. But there's an interesting thing. One of the things that I did, and I got a lot of pushback on this particular point, which I still to this day don't understand why. I said, everybody here needs to write their elected representatives and tell them where they stand vis-a-vis aid for Israel. You see the demonstrations throughout America, all in support of the Muslim terrorists, all the issues at major American universities, a lot of things going on. That's a little thing that people can do. I've said this before and I'll keep saying it, I have never seen such unity in the state of Israel. Again, a month ago, we were on the verge literally of civil war over the stupid judicial reform issue.
Yeah.
And the key is going to be for us to find ways when this war is over to maintain that level of achdut, of unity. We'll be talking more about that. But for right now, a wounded lion is very, very dangerous.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
the world is going to be shaken by what is still to occur. And the other thing is, just one point I want to make very quickly. This is not a war against Hamas. There are at least 6 other terrorist groups that joined in Hamas with this. This is This is not one organization. Hamas is the largest organization. They are the ruling organization in Gaza. But the other, it's even. I joke all the time that coming from the Bronx, I have, I'm challenged arithmetically. But here's the thing: 1,500 terrorist bodies were found. Hamas has openly and proudly said that they sent in 1,200 terrorists. Huh? So there were others. And that, of course, to do with all of the Gazans who came in to pillage. This is, okay, we spoke about, okay, something you guys also may have missed in the news. There are ongoing raids throughout Judea and Samaria.
Yeah.
Our security forces are really serious about it. In fact, we had an aerial hit on a terrorist cell that was hiding in a mosque in Jenin.
Yeah, saw that.
And we took them out. We haven't had an aerial hit in Jenin since the early 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
So we're on top of this. Also, the Shin Bet, our internal security services, has just formed a special new unit. Their task is to identify and go after each and every single terrorist that was involved in this.
Wow.
Which has nothing to do with the Air Force strikes that kill them and all the other units going after them. This is like after the Munich massacre. This is their job. Okay, anti-Semitism in America. People writing to me about Biden. Ultimately, he's going to throw us under the bus.
Yeah.
However, for right now, he's doing and saying the right things. And this is where I'm going to get a lot of people upset at me, as opposed to the previous president, Donald Trump, whose only open statements have been ripping apart Netanyahu. Now, I can rip apart Netanyahu. I'm an Israeli. I'm a voter. Trump is a former world leader. He also referred to our defense minister as a jerk. And of course, his big point was, if I were president, no one would have ever attacked Israel. So again, please don't write me, what do you think about Biden? Please don't write me if this is where the red horse of revelation is riding or the yellow horse. I mean, that's not my thing. That's really not my thing. The other thing is, the latest rumor du jour of the conspiracy theorist nuts is that Netanyahu created Hamas as a counterweight to the Palestinian Authority. So he talks about a two-state solution, but isn't going to have one. Okay, just one quick point. Hamas is an outgrowth of the Muslim Brotherhood, which was created in the 1920s.
Yeah.
For those of you who have trouble with math like I do, that's more than 100 years ago. Also, this was said about him by a guy by the name of Chaim Ramon, who said that Netanyahu had said this to the Likud years ago. Chaim Ramon was a member of the Labor Party and was the antithesis of Likud, and he never would have been in a Likud meeting. So this is all, and also don't keep sending me memes, prayers for SEAL Team 6 who have boots on the ground. They're not here. And you know what? Don't insist, yes, there are US troops in Israel. Because I say, yeah, where? Because I want to visit them. Okay. So we've got the line, yeah. The shekel continues to fall to the dollar.
Yeah.
Our economy is in deep yogurt. One of the issues that we have is the people that were supposed to be picking the fruit now are on our southern and northern borders. So there's a big issue And we'll see what happens with fruit and vegetable supply down the road, but it is concerning. It's very concerning. I know I'm forgetting tons of things here. People did say to me, can you tell us more? You know, because one of the more popular things the last few weeks is when I tell people what's actually going on in Modi'in. And we actually got an update. Not only do we have a rapid response team, but there is a security team that the city runs. Basically, as far as I could see, in being in Modi'in for 14 years, all these guys do is like yell when you jaywalk across the street. Well, turn out they're all combat veterans as well. So they're now all being armed with, and I loved when as I'm reading it in Hebrew and I'm translating it, it's long barreled weapons. Okay, so we're talking about M16s.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a volunteer force that's working in conjunction with our police. You know, kind of, you know, if you see something, say something. And there's also a unit of our home front command that is stationed right outside the city. So again, we're nowhere near Gaza. We're nowhere near the northern border, but we're right against Shomron, Samaria. There are changes coming to Israeli society that I wouldn't have predicted in my lifetime. People are coming to realizations of things again. When the war is over or ending, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about Netanyahu and his policies, how it got us here. But for right now, we're not. Oh, lovely people write to me and they want to send me packages, which is very sweet. Let me tell you something about sending Hanoch a package. The smallest package from the US, probably not weighing more than 2 pounds or so, is going to cost you a minimum of $60.
True.
Now, before you say, that's okay, Hanoch, we love you, we want to send you. Okay, understand something. We can buy whatever it is that we need here. Prices are high and the shekel is wobbly, but okay, we can get it. But the other thing is, if what you send me is valued more than $75, now you can say that it's valued at $20, but when the customs clown here opens it up and he looks around and says, now this is more like $200,
Mm-hmm.
I wind up paying an arm and a leg. So between the two of us, there's very little that I can imagine that anyone can send me. Of course, if you want to send me pure energy orange mango flavor, you know, that's fine.
I'll see what I can do about that.
By the way, we do have to, yeah, I can no longer access the Pure website
Yeah, I know.
from Israel. We're kind of banned. I don't know why. We'll
Yeah.
talk about that. But anyway, so please don't send me, don't send me packages. Again, between your postage and my taxes, it's going to cost $100 together. It's not worth it. But I thank you guys so much. I appreciate people writing me. They're sending me questions. Again, please don't ask me to cross-reference different colored horses in the book of Revelation. Not my thing. Can't really help you with that. And, you know, talking about Biden, you know, we don't talk about Biden here. You know, we don't talk about Trump. You know, I mean, we have an advantage over you guys in the US. In the same way, there was someone that I knew from Modi'in. I ran into her, and she has an Israeli flag on one side and a Canadian flag on the other side. So I asked her, I said, oh, you know, when I saw the Canadian flag, I thought Justin Trudeau was in the country. So, you know, she didn't like that. Anyway, the spirit here is amazing. But there's not a day. I mean, you have to picture this. You have an entire nation that's sleep deprived. Everyone is anxious. Everyone, if you're not related to someone at the front or either front, you know someone who knows someone who is.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a very, I mean, I told people years ago that in Israel, you're never more than 2, maximum 3 phone calls from
Mhm.
anyone in the country.
Yeah.
That I could call someone who used to work with Bibi Netanyahu and have his number.
Yeah.
I don't want to use that number for any reason.
Yeah.
I again, I encourage people to write us. I encourage people to give whatever you can, and they should always, always, always check with you, but if not you, me, as to is this a legitimate group to send to? The needs only continue to grow.
Yeah. They do. You talk about sleep deprived, Hanok. I just was talking with someone just a few days ago, and in Israel, a mutual friend, and she, I could tell she was on the verge of tears anyway, and she said, "I just lay in bed at night and cry." Having numerous uh, children, children-in-law, nieces, nephews. I mean, everybody knows somebody that's on the line right now.
Absolutely.
And this the sleep deprived thing is quite the reality. I just checked, and the shekel totally different. Shekel is 4.05. I don't know that I ever saw that during the Oslo War, the Intifada. I don't think it was there.
I
So,
don't believe so.
you know, this is an issue for you guys as far as funding things. Shipping, yeah, I got that. It's so easy to go on to, you know, your site to PayPal, and it's set up to where it can be between friends. There's nothing even taken out there. So that's a great thing to do. If people want to give in a way that is you know, sending things, sending clothing, I'm going to be on the phone tomorrow with Jessica from Yad Leah, and people can go to yadleah.org. I'll be giving out more information this week on that, but they can send clothing to New York, and it's going to be sent via a container to Israel. I'm going to check with Jessica. We've worked with Jessica for many, many years. Very
Mm,
trusted organization there.
yes.
And so I'm going to check with her tomorrow. If people want to check in on my my video this week on Israel update, probably on Wednesday, I'm hoping to have more information about what is needed. Basically, you guys are coming into winter, clothing, warm clothing. People need to keep in mind that. In fact, why don't you do this? Give us some ideas. Israel, the clothing selections in Israel is a little different than it is in America. How would you, what would you recommend for both men and women's clothing that would be appropriate there? And
The
knowing
most
that a lot of the things from Yad Vashem, or Yad
godly.
Leah, are going to Judea, Samaria, Hebron, all of those areas,
Okay.
which are more conservative in nature.
Okay. I would always go for men and women, fleeces.
Okay.
Fleeces are really, hooded sweatshirts, even nylon jackets. Again, not the one that are, kind of like leopard pattern or zebra striped. Go with your navy blue, your black, your basic things. That is very, very helpful. Um, you know, um, the word just fell out of my
Toboggan.
the hat,
Yeah.
the winter hats. What do you
Uh,
call them? Like a
toboggan
watch cap.
kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Watch cap.
yeah. Um, yeah, okay. Oh, one other thing, I'm glad you mentioned. People are asking me, are you still coming in January? Because that was the original plan. I hope so. It depends heavily on the situation. Ironically, the presentation that I've been working on since August is why does Israel even matter? So
Mhm.
that's kind of amazing.
Yeah.
Uh, So, we'll see what happens. There's also, there's the realities. Part of the reality is airfare is very expensive. We all know that. And from the end of September through December is when I earn half my income. So I'm still hoping that I'll be able to come. There are a lot of places that I want to speak at. Less than ever before, though, interestingly enough. And I'm also, because of the time of year, January, February, we'll probably be looking at the warmer weather states. If Franklin, North Carolina is as far north as I go. Well, let me ask you a question because I'm a little confused. Is Franklin further north than West Gloucester, Virginia?
I think we have them in altitude, but of course, Barry would, Barry'd have something to say there. But because they're on the Chesapeake Bay, I think we have them in altitude, but they are a little bit farther north. But our weather is a lot of times about the same. So I think we can probably get you at Gloucester somehow.
Well, no. I'm planning to go to Gloucester, but there's some just said you may want to edit. You referred to Gloucester being up north. Just giving you a heads up. We don't want to upset Barry. Barry's a dear friend.
Yeah, it's north of here, but south of there. Okay.
That's all that matters. I want to assure our listeners we're hanging in. We're gonna get through this. We're gonna get through this together. Israel will be better. Israel will be stronger. And never ever lose hope and faith.
Oh, look, I want to read something. I've been kind of toying with this since we got on, and I can't see you right now because I got my email up. This is the something from Rob Cook, and it was a century ago in May of 1921 that Arab riots ravaged Jaffa and neighboring Jewish settlements. Aftermath was 47 Jews dead, 146 wounded, hundreds homeless. And Rav Cook wrote a letter to his son, and I'd like to just read this letter if you don't mind. And I can't see you, so I don't know if you mind or not. Please. But it says, Rav Cook says, "It is now, my dear son, it is now a month that we have received no news from you. We don't even know in what place, city, country you are currently residing. You can imagine our great concern. May God quickly rejoice us with good news from you and all of God's people. Concerning the recent events, the riots, you already know. It is not new for us for such matters to make a resounding impact in the world. Here in the land of Israel, we await the compassion of the Rock and Redeemer of Israel. Our spirits remain undaunted, since we know with clarity that in the end, the footsteps of Israel's revival and redemption are progressing and clearly evident. All of the constraints in the world merely serve as guides, awakening our thoughts to take action. With God's help, we will triumph, and God will defeat our oppressors. You who are far away, do not overly anguish. True, our hearts ache, and our pain is immense for the martyrs, our fallen brothers who died at the hands of murderers. But in the end, he will heal also from this wound. And the holy expression, with your blood live, from Ezekiel 16, shall be fulfilled, God willing, many times over, more than that of last year.
Amazing.
Beautiful words spoken 102 years ago that are as relevant today, as, if not more relevant than they were then.
Yeah, you have to remember, Rav Kook never lived to see the reformation of the state of Israel.
No.
So to have that level of faith And that's when we were still under the British military occupation, who were able to do everything except make an attempt to police the country and protect Jews.
Yeah, the what he said goes on in other areas, and it reads just like the news today.
Yeah.
So if anybody wants to say, well, it's the it's because of statehood, or it's because of 1967 or 73 or Gaza or anything, that narrative does not fit into 1921. The only narrative that fits, Hanok, in the centuries is this: you're a Jew and you're breathing, and that's a problem.
Yeah. That's the way to sum it all up. There's no way around it. That's the issue. And let it not, it's interesting. All of the videos that I caution you all about watching, I watched them all. And there's one thing, I don't speak Arabic fluently. I only know a few words, most of which I couldn't repeat now. But when you listen as they were rounding people up, they're not referring to us as Israelis. It's Yahud. It's Bachel Yahud, slaughter the Jews. Which, by the way, brings me back to a good point that I forgot to mention. People are naming their children now after communities in the Gaza area. So you're having Be'eri, Oz, and there'll be lots more. We are going to get through this.
No doubt about it. All right, buddy. We will we'll see you, God willing, we'll see you on Wednesday. May there be a good report on that day.
Amen.
Until then, I'm Israel Kai.
I'm Yisrael Chaim. Thanks, guys.